Okay, our PowerPoint has to do with tides, and tides are the periodic changes in water level that occur along the coastal lines.
Describe what tides are. Tides are the changes in sea level that occur as a result of the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun on the water of the oceans. The earth rotates beneath the water such that when a point on the earth's surface is under a bulge, the tide is high, and when the point is under a bulge, then the tide is low. Tides play a considerable role in the life of many marine organisms, especially those that live in the area exposed at low tide and covered by high tide.
In this model, the moon is held in orbit around the Earth by the Earth's gravitational force. There is also an apparent force called centrifugal force acting in the opposite direction and pulling the moon away from the Earth. Together, the Earth and the moon are held in their orbit around the sun by the gravitational attraction between the sun and the center of mass of the Earth-Moon system. An opposing centrifugal force pulls the center of the mass of the Earth-Moon system away from the sun. Explain why tides occur. Tides occur when the gravitational force of the moon pulls ocean water towards it, while the centrifugal force of the Earth-Moon system forces a mass of ocean water to move in the opposite direction.
Name and describe the two types of tides. The two types of tides are spring and neap tides. The moon plays a great role in producing tides. The gravitational force of the moon is strong enough to cause high and low tides, otherwise known as spring tides. Another type of tide is called a neap tide. This causes a small change between high and low tides. In this slide, you can see a diagram that explains how the moon and the sun affect the tides. Spring tides occur when the moon and the sun are in line with each other and the gravitational pull of the two are working together. Neap tides occur when the sun is at a right angle to the position of the moon. The relatively smaller gravitational pull of the sun cancels some of the moon's gravitational pull, producing smaller tides.
Explain tidal range. Tidal range is greatly influenced by geographical factors, such as the contour of shorelines and depth of coastal waters. Diurnal tides are areas that have only one high tide and low tide each day. Semi-diurnal tides includes most areas that have two high tides and low tides each day. Mixed semi-diurnal tides occur by the high and low tides happening at different levels. High water is when the water is at its greatest point and low water is at its lowest. A flood tide is when the water floods the whole coast. A falling tide is referred to as an ebb tide. Tidal currents refer to the rising and falling of tides. Slack water is the time period when the tidal currents slow down and then reverse.